today?
Yeah.
Today with Examiner, EG, CBS.
Oh, cool.
Online. I work for Scene, I work for everybody else. Much better than being with the people.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming. My name's Ivan Schwartz, I'm with the Greater Cleveland Film Commission. And without a long speech, I'm just going to introduce Joe and Anthony Russo, who are going to be joining us today for questions about how they got their start and why they love Cleveland so much. So let's give a big warm welcome for Joe.
Sorry, we were in the hall and couldn't hear.
How is everyone? Good?
Yeah! All right. It's amazing.
How many Clevelanders in here? Who are my solidaries? All right. Are you running the show?
I'm going to try. So I'm just going to start off with questions and then I'll let you guys ask me some questions.
Okay.
So your first feature was Pieces, which made the festival circuit, and then you did, and Steven Soderbergh saw it, and you did helped you make Welcome to Collinwood.
That's right.
So how did you go from making, maxing out your credit cards to working with Marvel?
Wow.
That would take like
Question one.
That's a 20-year question.
It was a long journey. I mean, I'm trying to do the shortest version of it possible, but we made. Can you hear us, by the way?
Yep.
We made this credit card film in the late '90s, and then Soderbergh saw it, and he included produced Welcome to Collinwood for us. Before we finished that film, the president of FX, Kevin Riley at the time, was making a show called Lucky, which was a single-camera half-hour comedy, but it was really part of the new wave of single-camera half-hour comedies that were kind of comedies and kind of dramas and were edgy. And so this was a show about a gambler in Vegas, and we had kind of indie edge at the time, and he was looking for indie guys to do the show. So we shot that pilot. It was very well received by the industry. And then Ron Howard saw that pilot. He was a big fan of it, and he asked us to do Arrested Development. And that led to there's always money in the banana stand. So that led to long-run television comedy, including Community and Happy Endings. And then we were kind of patiently waiting for a return to features. We had experience on You Made the Pre, we didn't feel like we were necessarily in control of the movie, so we wanted to wait, and we were looking for the right project. And I started collecting comics when I was 10. My uncle gave me a box of comics, and I read them all in one weekend. And then I still have my collection; it's in my closet. We heard that Marvel was looking for someone to take on Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The minute we heard it was The Winter Soldier, it was like, oh man, we gotta get that movie. So we worked really hard. It's very tough competition. There's 10 other directors trying to get that film, and it took us like 3 or 4 months. Sorry, it took us 3 or 4 months. Is this better? Yeah. Can you hear us in the back? So it took us like 3 or 4 months to get Winter Soldier, and then we had a great experience with Marvel, and the movie was well received. So they asked us to do Civil War and ultimately Infinity War.
Woo!
Now we're going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ivan,
Yeah.
we're all wondering, what the heck is the Greater Cleveland Film Commission?
It's so nice of you to ask. So basically, we're an economic development and job creation organization that wants to build a new industry in Northeast Ohio, a film industry. And we're not interested in, what we're interested in is creating jobs, lots of jobs, creating economic development for our city, putting Cleveland on the map, not just being good for Cleveland, but being globally recognized as a center of excellence in filmmaking. Last Monday, We just introduced legislation that will increase our incentive from $20 million a year to $75 million a year, which means that we won't. Which means that we won't lose productions such as Avengers 3 and 4.
We're working hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, we work with film commissions all over the country and all over the world, and Cleveland is in an incredibly fortunate place right now to have somebody with Ivan's expertise and abilities running the film commission. It's as good, you know, the climate for filmmaking here is top notch, and a lot of the work is like Ivan just talked about it. It has to do with legislation and making sure that the economics work for the film productions that are trying to come here.
It allows people like us to come to Cleveland and shut down the freeway for 2 weeks.
Which we hope to do again. So, Joe, you and Anthony, you touched on this. You said that the selection was difficult. Can you tell us anything about the process for getting Captain America and how it felt to go through that process and what it felt like to finally land it?
Well, Marvel's a pretty amazing place. It's run by a guy named Marvel Studios. This is like the film production arm of Marvel, which, you know, as many of you know, doesn't control all the Marvel Comics properties. It controls a portion of them that have to do with the Avengers. Kevin Feige runs the company, and they're a really unique, amazing studio. He has this. They have the policy there where, like, when they're coming up with a new movie, they make a list of directors that are doing interesting work, and sort of like have excited them. It doesn't have to be a director that is necessarily hireable for the movie, but they just like to have creative conversations with people about where they can take each movie, what they can do with the material. It's a very interesting creative process where they go on a fishing expedition, basically. So we showed up on our list because they were fans of, I think, Community at the time. And then, so we went in to talk with them. We had an initial conversation that went very well. We didn't see the script yet at that first meeting, but we had a good sort of get to know you meeting, and they wanted to move forward to another meeting, and so did we. So then they gave us the script to read by Marcus and McFeely, and the script really lit us up. We were extremely excited. It was like, you know, like Joe mentioned, we were looking for the right opportunity to come back to features, and even though we were known as comedy directors, we were like action fetishists. So we were waiting for action, you know, doing an action movie had been on our agenda for a long time. So, and the fact that the movie was a hybrid between a superhero film and a political thriller, again, it like was right to the sweet spot of what we like creatively. So, fell in love with the script, and then we began to work very hard over a series of several more meetings over the next few months, where we prepared storyboards, we rewrote certain scenes, we did what's called an animatic, where we did sort of a visual presentation of what we would do with the film. We took shots and scenes from other movies, and we cut them together in a montage to kind of give them a feel of the energy we wanted to shoot the movie with. It was a very lengthy process where we had to keep coming back and getting more and more specific. The good thing about that process was that by the end of it, like, Joe and I knew exactly what we wanted to do with the movie, so that was cool. We kind of made the movie over those few months. But it was also like we really like had to go all in. It was basically we were spending all our time doing that. So thank God we got the job.
Are you here? Are you even from Cleveland?
I ask myself that every day. No, so I moved here from LA 10 years ago. We don't have family here. I didn't come back here for family. I moved here because when I was scouting for an HBO series called Band of Brothers, the city resonated with me as a great place to live, but I had no idea what I would do here. An opportunity came to build something, and we thought that we were going to give it 6 months, and if it didn't work out, that we would move to London, where I had met my wife, and that was literally almost 10 years ago today. And what we're here to do, and why I'm here, and why I love the city, and it's
Louder?
Yeah, I think louder. Look closer.
I love this city because I love its sense of community. I think that we can do amazing things here. I think that the world should see and the light, we should shine a spotlight on this city. I think that we got to get over ourselves and stop playing poor me and know that we can be a top-notch city doing top-notch movies, creating top-notch, high-paying jobs. The governor of Georgia just put out Georgia, which is, you know, hot and sweaty, and I think they can attest to this. You know, they've created 79,000 jobs since 2008 in this industry, and the average salary is $84,000 a year. And there is absolutely no reason other than we don't think we can, that we can't have it here in Cleveland, Ohio. And so that's what we're trying to do, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I stay here, because I believe that this city, like I said before, should be a center of, you know, a global center of excellence. The light should be shined on here, not just for 4 days, but for the next 20, 30 years. How was your experience on Cap 2 and 3? It's so different from Welcome to Collinwood. I mean, they're still movie making, but what makes the...
Yeah, I mean, it's the process is the same. You know, you wake up, you put on your pants, and you drive to work, and you know, it's...
Don't you have somebody driving you now to work?
Sometimes. And then you get there, and there's a lot of trucks and a lot of people running around, and a lot of chaos, and you have to figure out how to manage the chaos and get some work done, and then go home. You know, the difference on the large-scale movies really is just the green screen work and understanding how to execute green screen work. The action work is very similar to comedy. Comedy is geometric. It's like it's like a math equation. You know, when you're doing a physical gag, like on a show like Arrested Development, where you know the house falls and Buster's standing there, and you know he just happens to be standing in the spot where the only window is, so it doesn't kill him. But that's just purely mathematical, right? So when you apply that to action, it's literally a very similar formula. You know, the scale of these movies, it's not, you know, honestly, you know, doing it 8 months on a TV show is more grueling than, you know, doing Winter Soldier or Civil War, only because you are constantly in prep, production, and post-production while on a TV show, because there's always an episode being prepped, you're always shooting an episode, and then, you know, you're always trying to deliver something for air in 2 days. So that TV is very, very difficult. I think it's probably the hardest gig in the entertainment business, is because the hours are so grueling. You finish at 2 a.m. and you're back at 7, and this goes on for 8 months. And you know, if the script's not ready, you're there on a Saturday and a Sunday. So features are a little bit more organized in that you have, you know, about a year to prep the film. So that means break the outline, write it, you know, go prep it, meaning find the locations, places like Cleveland, figure out what the sets are, cast any new actors that might be in the movie. And then you shoot typically for anywhere from 70 to 85 days, 5 days a week. And then you post the film for about 8 months to a year. The VFX take a staggeringly long amount of time. And that's what we're working on Civil War right now. Is we're in our last month before we deliver the movie. So we've got a lot of VFX in the film, and I think we're only about a third of the way through the shots, and we've got 4 weeks left. So that ends up being a lot of time spent in a room where you're each shot comes up one at a time, and you talk about how does the light look? Is it realistic? Is Black Panther's arm moving the right way? It's all very.
Does his ear look funny? That's always
so it's excruciating, but it makes the movie better.
Anthony, how about for you? So now you're going into 2 back-to-back movies. So is that
the sound cut out?
Sorry. So you're going into 2 back-to-back movies. I would assume that it's similar to television.
Are we back?
Yeah.
We're back.
So I would say it's probably similar to television in that you're prepping for 2 shows at once, and then you're going to be shooting for twice as long now. Is that going to be grueling, or are you pacing yourself? How are you handling the pressure of delivering that movie now and delivering Captain America on time as well?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's very rarely done where you block movies like this and shoot them together. I think our TV background is, sort of told everybody that we were capable of pulling that off. There was one point where Joe and I were producing 3 TV shows, and at the same time, we were just like, we were all the shows were at the Paramount lot, and we just would ride in a golf cart all day long from one stage to the next, 2 or 3 shows at a time. But yeah, it's tough. So the shoot period is extremely long. It's just a little more, like, the funny thing is these movies are complicated to begin with just because there's a lot of actors in them, there's a lot of locations, it takes a long time to shoot action, and so now it's like double that for 2 movies. So it's pretty intimidating, and we're very eager to, like, we're in the final weeks, like Joe was describing, of finishing and delivering Civil War, so it's completely finished, so we're really eager to get through that process. One, because we really love the movie, we're very happy with the movie, we want to get it out there, but 2, we want to get on to Infinity War, so we can just spend all our time focused on that.
Okay, so Captain America, you have 2 Avengers films, so that takes you to 2040.
2041.
41. What's next? What do you want to do? Go, you're the superhero directors of the world, literally. So where do you see yourselves headed after that?
I don't know, what should we do after Avengers? Anybody got any ideas?
Arrested Development.
Okay. We still owe 6 seasons of a movie on Community as well, so. It's always a tough question because we are literally unavailable in 2019, so who knows what projects are going to be out there. We have things that we love that we'd love to get made, and it's a very interesting time in the business. I think you'll see that Star Wars and Deadpool are going to have a very lasting impact on the business, only in that you can now release a tentpole movie just about any month of the year and be very successful with it. So that means that also with television becoming so high quality, I don't know if you're watching Netflix or Amazon or HBO. I mean, there are many episodes of TV shows that I find better than most movies that come out in a year. So I think you're going to see that the features are going to become more event-driven, and that's how they're going to get us out of the house. You got to get a sitter and go to the movies and maybe have dinner, and popcorn's not cheap, and if you go to IMAX, that's not cheap, and or you just sit home and binge watch Jessica Jones season 2. So it's going to be interesting, I think, and so our choices will be driven by creatively what kind of stuff we want to do. Is it right for television, and if or if we're going to go do another event movie.
Cool. Did you have another question for me?
Hold on, let us look at these cards here.
So Ivan,
Oh, yes.
we know you run the film commission, but do you also run the film festival? And can you hook everybody up with tickets?
Sure. The film festival and the film commission are 2 different things. A lot of people get us confused. The film festival, they're an amazing asset to our community, but they show the movies. And what we are doing is we are bringing the movies here to be filmed, and there is a difference between the film festival and the Greater Cleveland Film Commission. So at the end of March, there's no need to come up to me and say, wow, that film festival was awesome, which people do all the time, because then I'll just say thank you. And especially if you're here, I'll know who you are.
Especially if you're in a Deadpool costume.
So you've shot in Cleveland several times now. What do you think are the assets of this city that make you want to come back here, besides being from here, but you've been able to shoot all over the world? What makes Cleveland your #1 choice? And I'm making an assumption that I feel pretty confident about. Your #1 choice for making your films.
Look, when you shoot a movie, you often have every movie is different, so it's kind of hard to speak to like movies in general. It's not very specific, but like for instance, the movies we're doing now, they're typically set in different locations around the world, so you need, it's very expensive. You don't want to have to travel around the world and shoot in all these places. It's cost prohibitive to do that. So one of the great things about Cleveland is it has a variety of looks. It has parts of the city that look very Manhattan-y, and you've got the lakefront, you've got all kinds of, you got the countryside outside. It has a huge range of looks, which is really valuable. And it's a great looking city. It's got a lot of awesome architecture. As directors, you're always looking for something that's like really graphically striking and interesting. So visually, it's a great place. So you got that, and then on top of that, I would say, what is the climate for filmmaking? Some places are easy to shoot, some places are hard to shoot. Cleveland, like on Winter Soldier, for instance, we shot a lot of the movie here in Cleveland because it's very easy to shoot here, because Ivan and a lot of other people have helped create a climate where everything is facilitated. You have a big footprint when you're a movie. You have to move into a neighborhood and set up a bunch of trucks and change the parking and help redirect traffic. And you have to be very conscientious of not making the neighbors unhappy. And you want to be, it's a very complicated process. And that whole thing has been streamlined really well in Cleveland. The movie was set in D.C. and we used Cleveland to double for D.C. We only shot 3 days in Washington, D.C. because D.C. is a very complicated place to shoot. It's like you have to deal with all kinds of, there's like 20 different agencies you have to deal with, nobody cares. It's like the business in Washington is politics, they don't care about filmmaking. So, it's a lot of it has to do with that, like where is it easy to shoot? And there's a great climate here for filmmaking. And it's not only that it's been organized well for filmmaking, but it's also, again, the tax incentive. I can't talk about that enough because it's such a, the budgets of these movies are so big that the tax break really makes a huge difference on the budget. You end up putting a lot more money on the screen than you would be able to without the tax incentive.
And speaking of the incentive, I just want everybody to know that, what we're trying to do right now since 2011, we've had a $400 million economic impact on this city. And for every dollar the state spends on this program, so far we've been able to return $2 into the economy of Ohio. So we're not, it is not a subsidy for filmmakers. What it does is it allows us to build infrastructure, sound stages. It allows you to work here in this industry, people to work in this industry and not have to go to Louisiana or not have to go to California or Georgia, which is incredibly hot right now, literally and figuratively. But it allows you to stay here and make a living doing this. So it's not a subsidy. And also, people use that incentive to finance their films. So not all the movies are this size, but they use it so that money is spent in their community. So the state becomes sort of a partner with the filmmakers in creating jobs and economic development. And if we build when we build sound stages, I should say, and all these other ancillary businesses come here, we're going to be able to have an article where the governor of Ohio is talking about, the thousands of jobs that have been created in Northeast Ohio and the hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. If we get this incentive passed in this go-around, we're looking at about a $600 million economic impact per year versus 400 over the last 6 years. So, this is about making our community we don't have to be a one industry town. It doesn't just have to be healthcare. Sorry, we can have multiple industries here, and we should be diverse. We should keep young people engaged in our community, and we need to create jobs, basically, so we can get United to come back and fly, so we have better choices for United. This kind of ties into it. So how can we, as Clevelanders, get your movies here on a permanent and regular basis? How can we, as a community, help you help us?
It's it's an interesting thing that started with a tax incentive. It started, I think it was in Canada, and it's just started pulling work out of Los Angeles because these movies are extremely expensive, and these corporations just look at the bottom line and they go, I could save $30 million if I shoot this in Canada, or I could shoot in LA. So everybody started going to Canada. Then Louisiana offered the incentive, and Louisiana had like a 20-year run of, a lot of feature work. and now Georgia's done it, and they were offering like the highest incentive, but as Ivan said, the numbers are through the roof. Every Marvel film that's being shot, other than 2, I think, in the next 5 to 6 years, are being shot in Atlanta. You know, we of course we fight to you know, to keep Cleveland on the list all the time, and it is on the list for Infinity War. So we can do our part by fighting to keep Cleveland included. The trick is what kind of incentive are they offering, and that's always the fight, is that if they can save more money in Georgia, they're going to go there. And just because they save money doesn't mean they're not spending money. We spend an incredible amount of money. You know, you guys all know how expensive these movies are. So it's really, it's just supporting the Film Commission, supporting incentives from the state, and that's it. I mean, that's just being being vocal about wanting jobs and business dollars being spent here.
And another enormous thing is getting sound stages built, because that's really the reason why we're not. You know, you can come to Cleveland and shoot for exteriors and location work. It's great, but there's no sound stages. There's nowhere to. So for movies like the ones we make that are very effects driven, we do a lot of set building on stages. That's where the production gets based. So you know, we can, like Joe's mentioning in Infinity War, we're basing in Atlanta because they have sound stages there. So the whole production will move there. We'll prep the whole show there. We'll start shooting there, and then we'll go other places, hopefully Cleveland, for location work from there. But the big difference that Ivan's talking about, how you sort of build it, make this business go through the roof here, is you build sound stages so that shows like ours can actually come here, set up shop, and be based here. And this is where we're doing our stage work, and we're getting exteriors and location work here, and maybe we're going other places. But it's like that's the seismic shift. In terms of this, as Cleveland as a production center, is stages where productions can base themselves.
So we're hoping to have the incentive passed by May, which will then trigger infrastructure. We've been working with the developer. We're looking at 2 sites. One is the old Jaga Lake. The other is and the other is the Severn Shopping Center in Cleveland Heights. You know, that old shopping center there. So we're looking seriously about where we can do this, and you know, I'm tired. We've lost over $1 billion, not in economic impact, but we've lost $1 billion in movies that, not they came here and said, oh, we'd like to shoot here, but people that wanted to shoot here, like people want to shoot in Cleveland, Ohio, and we've had to say no because our incentive is too low or we don't have the infrastructure yet. And you know, every time one of those goes away, you know, that's $1 billion that could be spent. That's more than the Republican convention's going to spend here. You know, I mean, that's a lot of money, and it stays right here in our community. And you know, I just don't want to say no anymore. I'm really tired of it. With that, I know people might have some questions. There's a mic back there. If you have questions,
Just head over to the microphone.
Right in the middle there, and we'll take questions.
It's just right here in the aisle. Sure.